Will the House come to order? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Alcos, Ms. Amato, Ms. Bellotti, Mr. Chun, Ms. Cochran,
Excused.
Mr. Evslin, Mr. Garcia, Mr. Garrett, Ms. Grandinetti, Mr. Hashem, Mr. Holt, Mr. Hussey, Ms. Ichiyama, Mr. Iligan, Ms. Iwamoto, Ms. Kahaloa, Ms. Capella, Ms. Kohokapu Liloy, Mr. Kila, Ms. Kitagawa, Mr. Kong, Mr. Kush, Ms. Lachika, Ms. Lamosao,
Excused.
Mr. Lee, Ms. Lowen, Ms. Martin, Mr. Matayoshi, Ms. Matsumoto, Mr. Miyake, Ms. Morikawa, Mr. Muraoka, Mr. Olds, Ms. Peruso, Mr. Pirrick, Ms. Poepoe, Mr. Quinlan, Ms. Reyes Oda, Mr. Sayama, Mr. Shimizu, Ms. Souza, Mr. Takayama, Ms. Takenouchi, Mr. Tam, Mr. Tarnas, Ms. Templo, Mr. Todd, Mr. Woodson, Mr. Yamashita. Madam Speaker.
Here.
Madam Speaker, 48 members are present, 2 are excused.
Thank you. Item number 2, reading of the journal. Representative Morikawa.
Madam Speaker, may this matter be deferred.
So ordered. Item number 3, messages from the governor. Mr. Clerk, are there any messages from the governor?
Madam Speaker, there are none.
Item number 4, Senate communications. Mr. Clerk, are there any Senate communications?
Yes, Madam Speaker, if you and the members will turn your attention to the addendum to today's order of the day. We are in receipt of a communication informing the House that the Senate has passed the noted House and Senate bills on final reading. We are in further receipt of a communication informing the House that the Senate has adopted the noted Senate concurrent resolutions.
Members, are there any introductions? Representative Quinlan.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. In the gallery today, we have a former colleague. He is the kindest, gentlest, most encouraging person I've ever met in my life. He is a veritable ray of sunshine in dark times. Isaac Choi, welcome to your House of Representatives.
Representative Matsumoto.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Up in the gallery, we have Steve and Kim Santos. If you can please rise. Steve is the pastor of Calvary Chapel Westside Lahaina for over 30 years, and they're very involved in helping to support those who've lost their families and homes in the Lahaina wildfire, and they were here for the prayer breakfast this morning. If we can welcome them to their House of Representatives. And Madam Speaker, I'd also like to introduce, we have our wonderful House Minority Research staff up in the gallery. We have Maribel Sandoval, we have Kaylee Filippo, Caleb Barney, we have Racine Satele, and as you can see, it's her birthday today. Happy birthday, Racine. And we have Ashley Kim, who we will be saying goodbye to as she is getting POS'd off to Korea. So we will miss you, Ashley. We have Peter Klaproth up there, and we have Kyle Mina. And down here that we have every day, we have Maya Sweeney and Tom Coons. If we can welcome them to their House of Representatives.
Representative Garcia.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'd like to introduce my office team who's been hard at work this session. If you could please stand when I call your name. Mezana Alderger of Waianae, Hunter Harris of Makakilo, and Chief of Staff John Havelu, Waipio, and our other staffer Danielle from Kalpea Homestead. Thank you for serving and welcome to the House.
Representative Souza.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. In the gallery today, we not only have a great Director of Government Relations for Hawaiian Electric Company, we have my friend Shannon Alivado. Please stand. Thank you, Shannon.
Representative Belatti.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. In the gallery today, if I could introduce to the people here, Derek Turbin, Chair of the Hawaii Democratic Party. And also welcome Governor's Representative Will Kane. Thank you, Will.
Representative Kila.
Mahalo, Madam Speaker. In the gallery today, colleagues, I'd like to welcome my staff. This year was the first time I ever had an intern, so my intern, Courtney, please rise. Courtney will be graduating this summer from the University of Hawai'i, Manoa. Next, I have Auntie Christine, and then Auntie Doreen. I'd like to thank you folks for 3 years of service to House District 44, and welcome to your House of Representatives.
Representative Templo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. In the gallery today, we have Miss Angela Melody Young. She is a resident of House District 30. In recent, we served on the Kalihi Palawan Neighborhood Board together. And as you all know, she's been a very active, engaging advocate at the Capitol. So, Angela, welcome to your House of Representatives, and thank you for all that you do.
Representative Tam.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. In the gallery as well from the Democratic Party of Hawaii is their Executive Director, Phil Roque. Please stand and welcome to your House of Representatives.
Representative Alcos.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. In the gallery, I'd like to introduce Michelle, Sharon, and Kira. Please stand. Please stand, guys. And also Sheila. They're helping me this year, so welcome to the House of Representatives.
Representative Shimizu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. In the gallery, I have two important people, my office manager, Carol Ka'apu, and my better half, the joy of my life, my wife, Joy. Please stand and be welcome to your House of Representatives.
Representative Muraoka.
Morning, Madam Speaker. Give me a second while I get this thing right. I want to introduce two people who really help all of us here in our caucus. You know, they're the ones up there behind the cameras and make us all look so good in a lot of our video and photo. Pete Klaproth and Kyle Mina. Welcome to the House of Representatives.
Representative Amato.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. In the gallery today, we have Melissa Pavlicek, and I believe I saw Kika Bukowski up there as well. Incredible advocates for our community. Welcome to your House of Representatives.
Representative Martin.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'd like to ask you to join me in welcoming Michelle David, who is my committee clerk, who I'm introducing for the first time. Please rise. And my intern, Keo. Welcome to your House of Representatives.
Representative Iwamoto.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'd like to recognize a fearless advocate for good government reforms, the ED of Common Cause, Cameron.
Representative Miyake.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. In the gallery, I want to introduce my staff, Michael, Kathy, and Kavika. Thank you for your help this session, and I wanted to congratulate Michael as he's going to get married next week.
Representative LaChica.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'd also like to introduce my staff in the gallery. First is my legislative aide, Erin, but she's our second Erin, so she goes by Kez Enriquez. We're very jealous because she leaves on a trip to Japan tomorrow. We also have Erica, who's also Anderson, who's been my committee clerk for the last 3 years. It's bittersweet because she's applying to law school, so it might be her last session. I'm saying might because, you know, the doors are always open if she chooses to return. And then, of course, the brightest spot in our office, Erin Conway, my office manager. Welcome to your House of Representatives.
Representative Matsumoto.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I introduced so many people, but I didn't introduce my staff. So I'd like to introduce them now. I have my legislative aide, Megan Doherty. We have my legislative aide, Aidan Waldrop, my office manager, Sanwana Soriano, and our ASM, Sharon Klaproth, if we can welcome them. And last but not least, I would like to recognize the staff of Representative Jean Ward, if you can all stand and be recognized as well.
Representative Yamashita.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. I see up in the audience I have some of my research staff up there, so I'd like to introduce it's Allison, Jacob, Shane, and Kenneth, I think.
Representative Kong.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'd like to introduce, for the first time, my office manager and my committee clerk, Yehenara Sukop and Thomas Jiang. Welcome to the House of Representatives. And if I may, Speaker, have another introduction.
Please proceed.
The one half of HECO was mentioned, but the better half, no, I'm just teasing. Nancy Bernal, could you please stand? And welcome to your House of Representatives.
Representative Capella.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. In the gallery today, I have some staff and friends. I have Ree, Mahalia, and my office manager, Ruby, but I also have, for the first time in the gallery, my daughter, Ualani. Welcome to your House of Representatives. Hi, baby.
Representative Shimizu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm sorry I missed my legislative aide up there. You're hiding, Shotaro Dobbs. Just please rise. Welcome to House of Representatives.
Representative Grandinetti.
Thank you, Speaker. I want to introduce my staff in the gallery today. My committee clerk, Sam Peck, is not feeling well, but I do have my office manager, Emily Cristobal. She's been such a source of positivity and encouragement. I'm so happy to have her as a partner in this work. And Keao Sprotham, he's in the interim studying for the bar, so good luck, Keao. And his girlfriend, Isabel, who is here to watch us close everything out today. Welcome to your House of Representatives.
Representative Poi Poi.
Thank you, Speaker. I also have staff in the gallery. I have Ashley, our committee clerk, and Haley, our legislative analyst, and they've made such incredible contributions to our team this year and to our success as Judiciary Hawaiian Affairs Vice Chair. Thank you.
Representative Matayoshi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I saw Steve Tevis sneaking here late to try to avoid introductions, but I wanted to welcome you to the House of Representatives. Thank you for being here.
Representative Hussey.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just wanted to briefly introduce my staff as well in the gallery. Nadia Alves, Tambra Young, and Nalani Shintani. And we have a fourth member who's not here today, Erwin Gabrello. Thank you all very much for all your hard work.
Representative Woodson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We have two of my office team in the gallery today. Christine and Lauren, please stand. Ladies, you're rock stars. Thank you for everything.
Representative Peruso.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I know today is a day of celebration because we are concluding session, but for me, it feels a little bit heavy and I'm a bit sad because we are losing two of my staff that have been just tremendous this session in helping with the Energy Environmental Protection Committee and then also with our community work. And I would like to recognize Jolie Riff, if you can please stand, and then also Diani Kantu, if you can please stand. And welcome to your House of Representatives, and please come back.
Any further introductions? Okay, then let's move to the next item. We are going to skip to item number 6, adoption of resolutions. Members, there will be two motions. One to agree to the Senate amendments, and one to adopt the House concurrent resolutions. Representative Todd for the motion to agree.
Madam Speaker, I move to agree to the amendments made by the Senate to the following House concurrent resolutions. HCR number 121, HCR number 130 HD1, HCR number 200, and HCR number 205.
Representative Morikawa.
Madam Speaker, I second the motion.
Any discussion? Members, we will be taking a voice vote. All those in favor, say aye. All those opposed, say no. The motion is carried. Representative Todd for the motion to adopt.
Madam Speaker, I move to adopt the House concurrent resolutions with Senate drafts as listed on pages 3 and 4.
Representative Morikawa.
Madam Speaker, I second the motion.
Any discussion on these items? Beginning with HCR number 121, SD1. Representative Souza.
No vote, Madam Speaker.
Please proceed.
I just want to stand on my comments from previous readings that all communities need a second point of access in the event of an emergency, and that includes Makakilo residents. So I cannot support this resolution at this time because we need to focus on all residents of the state of Hawaii. Mahalo.
HCR number Representative HCR number 130. Representative Pirrick.
Thank you. No vote.
So ordered. HCR number 200. HCR number 205, SD1. Members, we will be taking a voice vote. All those in favor, say aye. All those opposed, say no. The motion is carried. We're now moving to the order of the day, item number 5, unfinished business. Representative Morikawa.
Madam Speaker, I move to suspend the rules of the House in order to consider certain House and Senate bills for final reading by consent calendar.
Representative Garcia.
Madam Speaker, I second the motion.
Any questions? Members, we will be taking a voice vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed say no. The motion is carried. Representative Todd.
Madam Speaker, I move that the House and Senate bills listed on pages 1 and 2, as amended, pass final reading.
Representative Morikawa.
Madam Speaker, I second the motion.
Any discussion on these items, beginning with SB number 97, SD2, HD2, CD2. Representative Iwamoto.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise in support with reservations and comment.
Please proceed.
30 days of prison for a misdemeanor feels excessive. At the very least, there should be an automatic notification to all drivers who have had 2 excessive speeding tickets in the last 5 years so that they are made aware that the next ticket for excessive speeding will result in a mandatory 30-day prison time. Thank you.
Representative Pirrick.
Thank you. In opposition for Senate Bill 97.
Please proceed.
Basically the same remarks as the previous speaker. This is pretty strict. Mahalo.
Representative Souza.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, with reservations.
Please proceed.
Thank you. I just wanted to briefly comment that I have the fortune of prosecuting traffic crimes in district court, and there's a myriad of traffic crimes that fall under the traffic enforcement code. And so I think it's interesting how I think DUIs, you're able to do asset forfeiture at this point in time. Now we're going to excessive speeding, but there's a whole bunch of different crimes that fall under that chapter. So I'm just curious to know, going forward, what else we're going to include as far as being a part of this asset forfeiture. So one way or the other, I just have reservations about it. I think that this is a good bill because excessive speeding is something that we need to combat. But just going forward, I just think it's a slippery slope. Thank you.
Any further? Representative Ray Zoda.
Reservations.
So ordered. Moving on to SB number 1434, SD1, HD1, CD2. Representative Pirik.
Thank you. No vote.
So ordered. Representative Shimizu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise in opposition.
Please proceed.
Madam Speaker, I know there are good chairs and committee members who have worked diligently on this bill, and I want to acknowledge, honor, and appreciate their efforts. My opposition offers and provides another point of view and hopes to be objective and factual. Madam Speaker, this bill establishes the Universal Immunization Purchase Special Fund to be administered and expended by the Department of Health. In testimony offered by the Tax Foundation of Hawaii, and I quote, "Special funds are pots of money that exist for a specific purpose and largely bypass the legislative appropriation process. The existence of hundreds of these special funds has often confounded those who seek answers to simple questions like, how much money does the state have? Our legislature is supposed to be the steward of all state monies, but special funds make it very easy to lose track of where the money is and how it is spent. Perhaps as a result of the foregoing concerns, the legislature itself has established criteria for when a special fund may be maintained, referencing Hawaii Revised Statutes, Section 37-52.3. Those criteria are that a special fund should state financial information on fees to be charged, sources of projected revenue and costs, and an explanation of why the program cannot be implemented successfully under the general fund appropriation process. And lastly, demonstrate the capacity to be financially self-sustaining," end quote. Madam Speaker, to answer the specific cost items, the HRS asks of a special fund to demonstrate the capacity to be financially self-sustaining. I ask the following questions. Has there been a thorough study and analysis to confirm these requirements? The bill states, by centralizing public and private sector immunization, procurement, and leveraging bulk purchasing power through federal or state consortium contracts, this measure lowers private sector costs. But do we know what specific bulk quantities are needed or being considered and the anticipated cost savings? Or is this a generalized statement and assumption that savings should occur? If the department wants to provide for emergency or supply shortages, how can this unknown be predicted, calculated, and secured for the bulk order? What is the storage capacity and provisions needed for this predicted quantity? Which are cost parameters that should be part of this analysis, as well as the setup and operating costs for the special temperature-controlled storage? What are the mechanisms and labor costs to monitor expiration dates, as well as considerations for updated versions of product that would render these stored stockpiles null and void? Additionally, the bill states this special fund beyond this initial appropriation will be funded by assessing health insurers and entities. Has analysis been done as to what this assessment amount will be? And what is the net accounting based on all of the above anticipated savings and questions and considerations from this bulk purchasing power? In fact, maybe we should start with the basic question of, based on the current vaccination usage that sets a quantity baseline, is there even a need to increase quantity that justifies this program to stockpile and store this? Are there answers to any of these questions raised? Forgive me, Madam Speaker, but I ask these questions because I don't know, and I did not see any information presented or anything referenced in the Department of Health's testimony. I think you would agree with me that it would not be prudent for this legislature to create a special fund
Yield my time.
that does not meet the Hawaii revised statute criteria requirements for this special fund to be established and budget $934,000 without these answers and plans already in place. Are we budgeting this kind of money for a department's idea, then have them figure this all out after the money is appropriated? Or shouldn't we confirm and verify that a thorough analysis and study that addresses all of these questions and concerns and even more be done before any money is requested and provided? Madam Speaker, our state and departments are already short-staffed and underfunded. So why should we get involved in this when there are no serious concerns with the current process and we have so many other pressing problems we need to address? We are also creating more bureaucracy and unnecessarily increasing our government's liability by inserting ourselves as the middleman in this process that is currently between suppliers and health providers. Colleagues, I hope that some of these questions I've presented has caused you to look and think about this bill in a different light. Again, I don't know if this makes any sense to you, but I truly believe a proper analysis and study is needed to be done and presented to this legislature to confirm the essential need and viability of this move, and we should defer this bill until such time. With these concerns, I oppose this bill and ask you, Madam Speaker and colleagues, to join me. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Any further discussion?
Madam Speaker, can I get a quick recess?
Recess, subject to the call of the chair.
Thank you.
Will the House come to order? We're moving on to HB number 1026, HD1, SD1, CD2. Representative Souza.
Madam Speaker, I don't think we were finished with Senate Bill 1434.
Okay, we can go back to Senate Bill 1434. Are there any other comments? Representative Souza.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just wanted to rise in support and just a brief rebuttal to what was said previously.
Please proceed.
This particular bill basically includes all of the typical language for a special fund bill. And so I'm not sure what was discussed previously by the previous speaker, but the bill seems okay to me. Thanks.
Representative Garcia.
In opposition.
Please proceed.
And I'd like to adopt the wonderful words of the representative of Mauna Loa as my own. Thank you.
So ordered. Any other comments? Representative Shimizu for the second time.
For the second time, thank you, Madam Speaker. Still in opposition, with permission to insert written comments to the journal, as
So
well
ordered.
as voice additional comments, please. May I proceed?
Recess. To order. Representative Shimizu, you may speak for the second time, and you have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I appreciate your indulgence. I feel very important to oppose this bill. Again, this bill establishes the Universal Immunization Funding Program. Fellow colleagues, I'd like to invite you to consider a different perspective, a vision or dream, where health is not solely or heavily reliant on drugs, medicine, or big pharma's mindset that to be healthy, we need to take their products. As we saw in the overwhelming public testimony against HB 1118, up to approximately 2,000 count, the public sentiment for
Point of order, Madam
increased
Speaker.
vaccine access, I believe, is questionable and debatable at best. These testifiers, many who came with young children and sat for hours to testify, represent a significant population that are against vaccines and vaccine mandates. This demographic,
Point of
who are
order, Madam
mostly
Speaker.
below 65.
Excuse me, what is your point of order, Representative Souza?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My point of order is that he's referring to a bill that has not moved forward, and that's not the bill that we're dealing with today. This particular bill has to do with funding for, it's a universal immunization funding program, and this is an elective thing. If people want to get immunized and vaccinated, it's their choice. Thank you.
Representative Shimizu, please stick to the bill at hand.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'd like to point of order Rule 28.3 that allusions or critical reference to another member are not in good order.
Point of order, Madam Speaker. That's irrelevant to the discussion. Thanks.
Recess. Will the House come to order? Representative Shimizu?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Again, I appreciate the opportunity to voice my opposition. Again, as I continue, this demographic, who are mostly below 65 years of age, highlights a wellness perspective that acknowledges alternative scientific data, studies, and positions that view vaccines as a potential danger that is harmful to one's biology, and more importantly, to one's children. Therefore, use of our taxpayer dollars for the purchase and stockpile of vaccines can be viewed as government overreach, a threat to one's freedom to choose, controlling one's free will to govern my body, my choice, as well as canceling informed consent, decision-making, and self-determination, infringing on protected constitutional rights. I would also question why does this bill now include adults, those below the age of 65 years of age, versus the previously mentioned HB 1118, which targeted our keiki specifically and highlighted the
point of order,
critical
Madam
need.
Speaker.
Representative Quinlan.
Yes,
Please, what is your point of
28.5.
order?
I think we now have strayed a little too far off course.
Again, Representative Shimizu, please stick to the bill regarding immunization funding.
Okay, I thought I was, but I appreciate the reminder. Madam Speaker, with all due respect, I will continue. Again, previous legislation targeted keiki specifically and highlighted the critical need for herd immunity only for school-age children to safeguard all of us. So I'm sorry, but I'm not a doctor and not
recess?
very...
May we have a quick
Representative
recess,
Quinlan?
please? May we have a quick recess, please?
Will the House come to order? Representative Shimizu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My apologies. I'm not trying to cause a ruckus here. I'm finishing up. I'm sorry. I'm not a doctor and not even very academic. Just barely keeping up being a State House representative. I don't know if this bill makes sense to you with the arguments that I have presented, but it doesn't make sense to me. So my final question would be, do we really need this bill? And I hope and pray that you will join me in answering no and consider using your green slips. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Representative Alcos.
Madam Speaker, in opposition.
Please proceed.
Thank you. You know, earlier during the month, there was a bill that was mandating our kids to get immunization, and at the schools, and churches couldn't have a right to say. And now we changed this bill and saying that now we're going to purchase all these needles when we could.
Point of order, Madam Speaker.
Representative Souza.
We did not change any bill. This is a separate bill that we've been contemplating from the beginning of time. That other bill died. Thanks.
Representative Alcos, please keep your remarks to this bill. The previous bill for religious exemptions died earlier.
Thank you, Representative, for making that correction. What I'm meaning to say is that this bill, similar to the other bill, purchasing a lot of needles, that when we get Kaiser already, our families can go to doctors and get our injections. This is 72 different vaccines into our kids' body that we're now going to be setting up a vaccine station, probably with these monies that after this bill passed, and trying to get vaccinated all our kids. When I was talking to the Department of Health, you only had 1% or less than 1% in Hawaii was probably with the cases that here, and we're spending all this money. But protecting our families, protecting our kids, and making sure that they're going to be safe. They cannot even be safe about the vaccine going into our kids, and we're worried about the 72 different vaccines. We want safety, we care for safety, but again, I feel that government is over-pressuring our parents, our families, and not sure enough of what this vaccine is going to do for the family of Hawaii. Thank you.
Representative Muraoka.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Can I have the wonderful words from my colleague from Mauna Loa and Ewa Beach inserted as if they were my own?
So
All of
ordered.
them.
Representative Souza, for the second time.
Thank you for the second time, Madam Speaker. Just in rebuttal briefly, again, this particular...
Madam Speaker, is this referring to the bill? Point of order.
Excuse me, sit down, thank you. I'm speaking, you're out of order right now.
Will the House come to order? Representative Souza.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Just a brief rebuttal to continue before I was interrupted. This particular bill is to increase statewide access to immunizations for all persons under age 65. That's all it is. It's to provide access. If you do not want the vaccine or you do not want to be immunized, assert your bodily autonomy and don't get the vaccine. Don't get immunized. But this bill will simply provide access for those who want it. So bodily autonomy all the way, my body, my choice, it all stays intact. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Representative Hussey.
In support, I'd like to please request that the words of the Representative Makakilo be added to the journal as if they were my own.
So ordered.
Thank you.
Let's move on to HB 1026, HB 1483, and SB 1396. Representative Morikawa for the vote. Representative Tam.
In support for SB 1396.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. One of Hawaii's greatest visitor attractions is the unique natural beauty of our islands, with measurable data supporting the increasing threats of wildfires, sea level rise, and extreme weather events to our homes and major economic industries such as tourism. It is long overdue that we prioritize protecting and preserving our natural resources. We have all witnessed firsthand the effects of environmental decline, be it victims of wildfires or my own constituents in Waikiki who are watched each year as the sidewalks and beaches are submerged by the ocean. These impacts are felt within our very own communities. It is estimated that Waikiki's annually generates close to $2 billion. The Special Use Improvement District Association estimates the cost of beach restoration between $30 and $60 million, a worthy investment to protect our visitor industry. Extending this tax to cover cruise ship visitors signals the state's strong stance in ensuring that visitors of all types are expected to contribute to the safeguarding of Hawaii's natural environment. The funds generated by this bill will support erosion control and much needed wildfire mitigations across the islands. A FEMA social vulnerability report from April of this year identifies that many of our communities, such as Salt Lake and Kalihi on Oahu, and Kahalui and Wailuku on Maui, are extremely vulnerable to floodings, as well as Makaha, Waianae, and Nanakuli, and areas of the Big Island are vulnerable to wildfires. Our residents and communities deserve to be protected. As we continue to invite visitors to Hawaii to share the beauty of this island, this bill is a huge step in ensuring adequate funding is set aside to steward and protect our delicate ecosystems for visitors, our constituents, and communities for generations to come. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Permission to add additional comments into the journal.
So ordered. Representative Amato.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, with reservations.
Please. So ordered. Okay. Representative Morikawa for the vote.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. On the measures before us, all majority members vote aye with the exception of the following. On page 1, SB number 97, SD2, HD2, CD1, Rep. Belatti votes no. On page 2, SB number 1434, SD1, HD1, CD2, the following vote no. Kila Kong. For SB number 1396, SD3, HD3, CD2, Rep. Kong votes no.
Representative Garcia.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. On the measures before us, all minority members vote aye with the exception of the following. On SB 97, SD2, HD2, CD2, Representatives Garcia, Aukos, and Muraoka vote no. On Senate Bill number 1434, SD1, HD1, CD2, Representatives Aukos, Garcia, Muraoka, Shimizu, Matsumoto, and Reyes Oda votes no. On House Bill 1483, House Draft 1, Senate Draft 1, Conference Draft 2, Reps. Muraoka and Garcia vote no. And on Senate Bill 1396, SD3, HD3, CD2, Representatives Aukos, Garcia, Muraoka, Matsumoto, Shimizu, Herrick, and Reyes Oda votes no.
Have all votes been cast? Representative Pirik.
Thank you. Just want to make sure that for Senate Bill 1434, my no vote was recorded.
So ordered. Okay. Said bills pass final reading. Introduction, item number 7, introductions of resolutions. Mr. Clerk, are there any resolutions for action?
Yes, Madam Speaker, we have for action House Resolution number 217, authorizing and empowering the Speaker to perform and carry out any official legislative business during the interim between the 2025 and 2026 regular sessions. This measure is offered by Representatives Quinlan and Matsumoto.
Representative Todd.
Madam Speaker, I move to adopt HR number 217.
Representative Matsumoto.
Madam Speaker, I second the motion.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion is carried. House Resolution number 217 is adopted. Mr. Clerk, is there another resolution for action?
Yes, Madam Speaker, we have for action House Resolution number 218, informing the Senate and the Governor that the House of Representatives is ready to adjourn sine die. This resolution is offered by you, Madam Speaker, and Vice Speaker Ichiyama.
Representative Todd.
Madam Speaker, I move to adopt House Resolution number 218.
Representative Matsumoto.
Madam Speaker, I second the motion.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion is carried. House Resolution number 218 is adopted. Announcements. Members, are there any announcements? Representative Todd.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just wanted to note that I did write this speech before today's floor session, and it wasn't intended to be funny, but it is a little funny now.
Recess.
Oh, no.
Didn't mean to cut you off there, but are there any general announcements to make before we do some floor speeches?
Madam Speaker. Over here.
Representative Lamasao.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just want to invite my colleagues and members in the gallery today to join my community tomorrow for the annual Filipino Fiesta. It will be held at the Filipino Community Center from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Thank you.
Any further announcements? Okay, Representative Todd, it's all yours.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Before anything else, I want to take a moment to recognize the people who make all of this work possible. To our tireless staff, whose long nights and early mornings often go unseen, but are always felt, mahalo. And to our colleagues in the Minority Caucus, your perspectives, dedication, and strong advocacy help sharpen the work we do and make this institution stronger. You are appreciated and valued. You have our thanks. We gather today at a time when our world feels more fractured than ever. Across the globe and across our nation, trust in institutions is eroding. Algorithms reward outrage. Politics is too often framed as combat, not conversation. But here in Hawaii, we have the power to choose a different path. A more difficult one, yes, but a better one. One grounded in relationships, mutual trust, and in the understanding that our shared future depends on our willingness to paddle together, even when we disagree on the course. That spirit guided the House Majority Package this session in a time of real hardship, when the cost of living continues to strain our working families, when our natural resources and cultural identity are under threat. We came together to craft a legislative package aimed at addressing these challenges head on. We invested in the fundamentals. Together, we advanced funding for workforce housing, expanded the Kauhale initiative, and continued our commitment to the Ohana Zones pilot program. We assisted local farmers and our most in-need residents through the Farm to Families program, all while renewing our commitment to biosecurity and taking major leaps forward to preserve our natural environment. We prioritized reentry services through the Department of Correction and Rehabilitation, which will help to reduce recidivism and lead to safer communities. We made substantial investments in early learning, expanding access to preschool while also establishing paid internships with the private sector for students and recent graduates to enter the workforce. In total, we passed or funded every piece of our House Majority Package, in addition to over 250 other measures, each designed to make incremental improvements to life here in Hawaii. That doesn't happen by accident. It took deep collaboration, open-minded negotiation, and a belief that doing the right thing, not the easy thing, is still worth striving for. These victories do not belong to one party or one chamber. They belong to the people of Hawaii, and to everyone in this building who chose to put pettiness and partisanship aside to paddle together. As we look forward, we know that uncertainty remains. Global instability, economic volatility, environmental threats, and political tensions. But here in Hawaii, we have a model, a fragile, imperfect, but powerful one. It is rooted in aloha, not as a slogan, but as a practice, as a value that demands respect, empathy, and collective responsibility. There were times this year, maybe today a little bit, where we fell short of those lofty goals, and aloha can sometimes feel aspirational. There will be times down the road where that will continue to be the case. To that point, it is time to challenge ourselves to be more and to do more. Let us all work to be an example that even in times of fear and division, it is still possible to move forward together. That we can be honest about the complexity of our challenges without losing hope in our ability to overcome them. That progress is possible when people come to the table, do the work, and keep the people they serve at the center of every decision. Mahalo for your trust, for your commitment, and your belief in this process. Let's keep paddling together.
Representative Matsumoto.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. As we conclude the 2025 legislative session, I want to take a moment to express my heartfelt gratitude to all those who have played a vital role in our progress thus far. First, I'd like to thank the members of our House Republican Caucus for their significant contributions this year. This session was a difficult one, with the loss of our most long-standing member, Representative Gene Ward. Rep. Ward diligently served our state, his beloved community of East Honolulu, and the Republican caucus for 27 years, while giving many of these end-of-session speeches as the minority leader. He would always remind everyone on this day that it is not sine die, it is sine die. Rep. Ward is remembered for his passionate debates on the floor, and he left us with words of wisdom that will be remembered in perpetuity. These phrases, which we have come to call Wardisms, include, these are some of my favorites, the Hollywood of the Pacific, ready, fire, aim, nose of the camel in the tent, and he often referred to this building as the marketplace of ideas. And of course, my favorite, we may not always have the votes, but we have the voice. This building will not be the same without him, and I know he will be missed by all of us. I also want to extend my sincere thanks to my colleagues across the aisle. While our votes may not always align, the most impactful work this session has come from bipartisan collaboration and the foundational shared set of values that everyone in this chamber agreed to at the beginning of the session. Thank you, Speaker, for your leadership on that. These values, again, are aloha, collaborate, respect, ohana, integrity, accountability, compassion, stewardship, and hard work. And I've said many times before, these do not mean that we have to agree on everything, but we still must aim to treat each other and those in the public with the highest regards in alignment with these values. These shared values are a good foundation that we must continue to build upon on the years to come. I'd also be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the unwavering support of the House Minority Research Office. Through the highs and lows of this session, your commitment has been exceptional. To all of our staff, your spirit of cooperation, especially during challenging times, truly reflects the essence of this institution. Your hard work is crucial in driving both positive change for our districts and our state. And I'd like to express my deepest gratitude to everyone in the Chief's Clerk's Office, IT, Print Shop, Public Access Room, LRB, Sergeant-at-Arms, the DAGS teams, and all the other dedicated staff members. When I delivered my opening address, I outlined the priorities for the Republican caucus, addressing the high cost of living and housing, refining our education system, advocating for Native Hawaiian communities, prioritizing public safety, and advancing government reform. We worked collaboratively and rallied behind legislation that improves the lives of our residents across the state, from property insurance stabilization to funding programs that promote food security. These are all initiatives that align with our caucus's vision. We supported bills that address the school bus shortage, implementing new reforms, and streamlining the permitting process in our state. Although we've taken many steps in the right direction, there's still much to be done. We passed significant legislation. Unfortunately, none of the Republican bills passed this year. However, one of our caucus bills almost made it. This bill relating to the individual housing account program would have helped first-time home buyers save more quickly for a down payment. It would have provided immediate relief to the housing affordability crisis in our state, and I remain hopeful that we can continue to collaborate on this in years to come. As the 2025 session comes to a close, I am proud of what we have accomplished together. However, as we all know, our work is far from finished. During the interim, we must continue to earn the trust of the people, invigorate our legislative process, prioritize sound policies that benefit all of Hawaii, and it is our collective responsibility to serve the people of this great state, and I look forward to working alongside of you in the months to come. Mahalo.
Thank you, Majority Caucus Leader Todd and Minority Leader Matsumoto, for your remarks. As the 2025 session of the 33rd Legislature concludes, I'm filled with a sense of gratitude, of pride, and relief. I'm grateful to all of you for entrusting me with the responsibility of being your Speaker of the House and for your support, your patience, and your understanding. It has been an incredible privilege and challenge. I'm proud of what we've accomplished by working together and living our values outlined in the coasters that Minority Leader Matsumoto passed out on opening day. And I'm relieved because we made it to today with 11 new members, 6 first-time chairs, a brand new leadership team, and we did it. Mahalo to the freshman class for your contributions to this session and for the great staff appreciation event yesterday. I love the effort, the energy, and the engagement. I want to give a shout out to our new committee chairs. You worked hard and found creative ways to get your bills past the finish line. And to our veteran chairs, your dedication and commitment is very much appreciated. I wish the public could see the late nights of work, the piles of reports and testimony you read, and the work that goes into the passage of each and every bill. To my leadership team and staff, you all stepped up and supported me and the entire body in so many ways, and you have all exceeded my expectations. To my office staff, Nick, Ben, Ren, Frank, Alan, and Wes, you're all amazing to work with, and I can't thank you enough for your dedication. Finally, let's all please thank Chief Clerk, Sergeant, Communications and Research Offices, Print Shop, Custodial Staff, LRB, and individual offices for their support this legislative session. We couldn't have done it without you. Progress requires persistence. On opening day, I shared some of the Majority Caucus's 20-year vision. Today, as we close this productive session, I celebrate the progress we have made toward implementing that vision by highlighting just a few of this year's major accomplishments. We took major steps toward ensuring that our Aina and our Vai are clean, productive, and well-managed. We supported Governor Green's efforts to create a green fee by passing a modest change to the transient accommodation tax that will raise over $80 million a year. Those monies will be used to protect, manage, and restore Hawaii's natural resources, including native forests, native plants and animals, aquatic resources, coastal lands, and freshwater resources. To mitigate the impacts of climate change on our natural and built environment, and to address beach erosion, and other impacts on our visitor industry. We have set our keiki up for success by having access to quality education and career pathways. We supported Lieutenant Governor's initiatives by expanding the Preschool Open Doors program and by adding 108 positions for public pre-K. We enhanced programs to provide paid internships to our high school and college students that will allow our students to gain valuable experience in critical need areas such as healthcare, education, STEM, and building trades. We supported summer learning programs and recurring funds for deferred maintenance in our public schools. And we expanded free school meal coverage to our students so they can learn. We prioritize affordable housing for our residents and families by providing $200 million to the Rental Housing Revolving Fund, Tier 1 and Tier 2, and that means that we can build more affordable housing for working families in Hawaii. Many public housing projects are at the end of their useful life, so we allocated $68 million to begin the work to rebuild 5 public housing projects into higher density mixed income housing. And we added $89 million in funding for Ohana Zone and Kauhale programs to ensure we are building and operating medical respite, supportive housing, and Kauhale for our homeless throughout our state. We ensure that our residents and families are healthy and thriving by significantly increasing funding, $248 million, for the Hawaii Health Systems Corporation to improve and expand services in our rural communities. We created positions for certified community mental health centers in all counties and re-established our state oral health program to address oral health disparities. Ambulance services were expanded to Maui, North Kona, and Molokai, and we approved significant funding for home community-based services for our vulnerable residents to live independently. We work toward diversifying our economy by continuing to fund manufacturing, small business, and innovation research and accelerator grants, and we provided funding to expand our healthcare workforce. We made a strong commitment to uplifting our local farmers and agriculture industry and strengthening food security by adding funding for agricultural loans, irrigation systems, slaughterhouse, and food hubs. And we established Farm to Food Bank program to provide food insecure families with nutritious, locally grown food. And we addressed ag crimes by passing the Cranston-Pia law. We laid the groundwork for increased biosecurity by transitioning the Department of Agriculture into the Department of Agriculture and Biosecurity. We appropriated over $26 million for biosecurity and added 44 positions. We approved funding for specific responses to little fire ants, coconut rhinoceros beetle, and other invasive species. We protected public safety by increasing re-entry services to connect offenders with community-based services. This is an important commitment to preventive measures that will help reduce recidivism. We allocated $30 million toward upgrading our correctional facilities, fully understanding the need to incorporate mental health and substance abuse in the new paradigm. Additionally, we passed a bill that will ease prosecution of illegal fireworks, added positions for firework enforcement, and extended the work of the Illegal Fireworks Task Force. We made great strides in increasing the disaster resilience of our communities. We fully funded the Office of the State Fire Marshal, clarified roles and responsibilities, and its organizational structure. And we added 22 positions and allocated resources to the Division of Forestry and Wildlife to enable them to better manage forest landscapes, reduce the likelihood of wildfire, and aid in emergency response. And then we also appropriated funding to the SDOT to clear flammable brush, establish fire breaks, and identify alternative evacuation routes. Other notable achievements include fully funding the state's portion of the Maui Wildfire Settlement Trust Fund, authorizing electric utilities, securitization, and a framework funding cuts, making safe spaces for youth pilot permanent, making homeless programs permanent, funding pre-nursing pathway and a BS nursing program at UH Maui College, increasing the cigarette tax to pay for UH Cancer Research Center, funding dementia research, establishing surfing as an interscholastic sport, and last but not least, designating the first Friday in May of each year as Lau Lau Day. Wow, you can see why I gave this chamber high marks for our work this session. We have made progress on many aspects of our 20-year vision because you have pushed bold ideas forward. You have been persistent and you have persevered. At the beginning of the session, we committed to serving with aloha, a willingness to collaborate, and with mutual respect in resolving differing views. And I thank you for trying to honor that commitment. I think Jean Ward would be very proud of that. And you did this against the backdrop of an uncertain economic outlook, a tumultuous global market, and challenging and changing federal policies. These policies will continue to require us to return, will most likely require us to return to a special session at some point this year. So please plan your life around possible dates. In the meantime, I know that you will all be out in your communities, addressing the needs of your constituents, serving on and leading working groups, scheduling informational briefings and site visits, learning from other communities and other states, and crafting legislation that you are passionate about for next year. While we end this legislative session, we all know the work of members continue throughout the year. But please give yourself a break, reacquaint yourself with your family and island, and congratulate yourself for a job well done. I wish everyone a restorative and productive interim. Mahalo. Thank you. For the motion to adjourn, Representative Todd.
Madam Speaker, I move this House stand adjourned sine die.
Representative Matsumoto.
Madam Speaker, I second the motion.
All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. The motion is carried. The House stands adjourned sine die.